still everywhere, if we, just everything, if I can get it on paper, know what I'm signing, know what I'm voting for, and I can physically look at it, that'd be appreciated. And I apologize for any inconvenience and
That's fine.
my ignorance in the process.
That is fine.
April the 7th won't be a detriment.
No.
All right. Okay, any other questions on this particular item? Okay, Ms. Williams, roll call vote.
Mr. Lawson?
Yeah.
Mr. Laswell?
Yeah.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Judge Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Yes, thank you, Ms. Williams. Okay, yes, Director.
You want to go ahead and?
Yeah, well, yes, because I'll support your recommendation.
Next item on the agenda is the hiring of personnel for the 911 center. My recommendation that we hire Megan Stan, Dylan Slaughter, and Daniel Holbert as the 911 center. Starting salary would be $12 an hour. Daniel and Dylan would be part-time dispatchers, and Megan would be a full-time dispatcher.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, based upon the recommendation of Director Phillips, to hire the folks that he just mentioned at the salary he just stated, and the full-time or part-time. Do I hear a second on the motion? Okay, motion dies for a lack of second. Is that what put you in a line?
Just more overtime.
Mike, before we do that,
That's all I've already pulled it. But that's okay, go ahead. The motion's already died.
how many employees do you have? Do you know right off the top of your head?
At the dispatch center,
That's it. We are hiring for, yeah,
there's 23 employees, with 16 full-time positions, and then we have, there will be 7 part-time positions. We've lost 3 part-timers. These 2 part-timers are going to hopefully get in so we can get into the academy. We have 1 retiring in the summer, and we have 1 that will graduate in May that will be leaving us. So we're trying to use the 2 or 3 open part-time positions to get them filled and get these people to the academy so that they're trained and ready to fill those 2 open positions. So it's 23 at this time, so it's the budgeted positions, 16 full-time. That work at the center that actually do the job, and then you have the deputy director's position and
Okay, the motion is died. Do you all want to bring it up? You want to make a motion to bring it up at the next meeting? Okay. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, make a motion, we table it or deny.
The motion has already died. Mr. Woolridge, do we have to take a vote for the motion to pass today?
No.
Okay, I'll second your motion. To table it? I'll second Mr. Baker's motion to table this until April the 7th. April the 7th, right? Yes.
Can I ask for clarification for the next meeting on what I'm going to have to do to make sure that is it the names? Because it's my understanding it was on the agenda. The problem with the names are, 2 weeks prior to the meeting, we offer these employees the job contingent upon fiscal court approval, drug testing, lie detector, and then get them ready to go to suitability. So we've got to go through that process within that 2 weeks, and I may not have names until the night before, where we get all the results back to the test. And we're trying to get it in here. So is it going to be, am I going to have to submit the names in the packets so that we change our time frame? Is that what the issue is? Or is it?
Names will be different than these names?
What I'm getting at is if we hire again, if I need to change our hiring practice to where I have to submit names to get them in the packet before you get them, and we've got to move our whole hiring process 2 weeks ahead, if that makes sense. Because once we offer them, they have to pass a drug test, and we may not get the drug test back before. So if I sent you a name, they didn't pass the drug test, you guys may have names, and I'm gonna walk in here with other names, or I'm gonna have to wait 2 weeks. And so I'm just trying to get clarification of what we need to do. If I need to move everything back and start interviewing different and doing our drug testing and suitability and lie detector at a different schedule than Carla and Bridget and I need to work on that. Okay, so, okay.
So that we're clear, so you all want the names in the packets on that?
And the package comes out on Thursday before the meeting, right?
Yes. So what I have to do is just change the schedule so that I know they passed their drug screen, their polygraph, and everything before, and then they accept it. And what it does is usually we offer it so that they can get their 2 weeks notice. And then by the time you all approve it, we have orientation set up, and these 3 people would have started Wednesday, so we can do our week's worth of orientation. So it's just tweaking what we've done in the past to get you all the names. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, magistrates, or Director Phil?
The last thing I had, Judge, or the judge asked me to,
Okay, what's our motion, Ms. Williams?
To reiterate, to table this till April 7th, it was not voted.
Thank you. Any other questions concerning the motion, which Ms. Williams will read again for clarification?
The motion is simply to readdress the hiring of the 3 potential employees until April 7th, 2016.
Any other additional questions on that motion? Okay, Ms. Williams, you may call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Judge Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams, for that.
for the April 7th meeting, you guys won't be receiving these names in your package, you already have them. So it'll be the same names. So we'll just, and then what we'll do is, we're going through the EMS process now, and we'll tweak that and make sure that we're ready for the next fiscal court meeting. The last issue the judge asked me to bring up is the status of where we're at on our state of emergency. We are still under a declared state of emergency, probably until tomorrow or Thursday, depending on the receding of the flood walls, or the flood walls. The flooding areas, so that Jimmy and the state and the cities can get in and evaluate their roads in different areas. Upon my recommendation, the judge signed a emergency declaration Thursday morning. We had all the snow, mainly for 2 reasons, so that we had the flexibility to move Jimmy's personnel and equipment into the cities and or to assist the state with any issues that may happen. And because we had so much snow that they needed to use the grader to put the personnel out of the trucks, and it allowed us to bring at least one retired individual and put him back in the truck and run a truck while the 2 graders were running and to assist Jimmy. The second issue by declaring also made us eligible for possible FEMA reimbursement. I've been in close contact with the state. We're evaluating where we're at in that process. We have to jump through 4 hoops in order for the county to be eligible. First hoop we have to jump through is to make sure that we have a record snowfall of at least 10%, no less than 10% of our record snowfall. Or we could be a county that adjoins Bullitt County to meet their record level and would make us eligible. Right now, FEMA, the state, and National Weather Service have 3 different totals that they're trying to figure out who is and who is not correct before they will even allow us to let us know that we've made it through that hurdle. If we make it through that hurdle, the second hurdle will be that Bullitt County has to show that we have spent $284,000 in time, equipment, materials within that slope. Right now, just roughly doing the numbers, we have not even met $100,000. But because of the flooding and the combined 2 storms, we'll be able to do potholes, hole patching, and then any damage to any areas, mudslides, or the roads due to flooding. So that's why we're keeping the emergency declaration until Thursday, so we will evaluate everything that's going on in the county. As soon as that happens, Jimmy and Chaz and Ronnie Fick and Jim Bohannon are comfortable that we're good. I'll ask the judge to extend the state of emergency, and then I will keep working with the state and FEMA to make sure that if we are eligible, that the appropriate paperwork is filed from the county and the city. So, but I will have, I'll let you know as soon as the judge rescinds that emergency declaration.
Mike, can you add in equipment, like, broken snaps, some equipment be added into that price?
Yes, and part of it, I'll just use the road department, it's going to be the biggest one that will put us above threshold. So we get to charge for the plow, the truck, the salt spreader, that's 3 different items, and then the amount of salt that they lay down. And then we can try to recoup parts or different, if Jimmy tore up a plow because he hit a car that was buried in the road, we would be able to try to reclaim that we could use the grader time. Part of the problem was there was so much snow that Jimmy has advised me, and I've learned something, that we did not get much salt because they had spent so much time plowing and
With so much rain, with snow,
So,
it didn't work.
that kind of hurt us in a sense and helped. We didn't use it, so we didn't expend it, but it's going to be hard to make our threshold. But we combine all 8 cities. We can actually use the school system, the sewer plant, the sanitation district. We can use some of their numbers too. But the road department in the county is going to be what gets us high enough to even get close to $284,000. RECC can submit their costs, and unfortunately, talking to Nikki right here, the RECC actually lucked out and we only had 2 customers out that night, and they did not have much damage. They attribute that to the $1.4 million cleaning up easements and moving the trees off the power line. So if that's what it takes, I applaud us for doing that, and I hope we keep it up, because losing power makes it miserable, and that makes us work. The only other thing that I want to convey to the magistrates and the judge, that when you see your fire districts, and I cannot stress enough how much these fire departments assist EMS in situations like that. Fire departments supported EMS on either pulling the squads out and or helping these crews haul patients through 22 to 30 inches of snow while we're pulling stretchers to the porch and pulling patients back to the truck. So I cannot tell you how much these fire departments assist EMS. So when you see your fire chiefs, the firefighters, just make sure you let them know that you realize that we could not have done it without them, period. We had trucks sitting on the side of the road, we never got them out, and or 3 trucks tied up on one side of the stretch to do that snow. So I just wanted to convey that and make sure I publicly thank the fire departments. Absolutely. Nothing else, I'll sit down and shut up.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Director Phillips. Moving on to number 7, action is requested on refinance options for loan on county courthouse EMS building, and we have our CFO, Keith Rudy.
Morning. Couple of things. Been working with Paycor, been up here and trying to keep you all up to date. Gave you a rundown of 5 options that I think are best suited for us going forward with this. Working with Paycor to broker this deal, all our deals in the past, trying to stay with them, trying to keep costs down. If we had gone to an outside bank, we would have had to have appraisals. There would have been some costs involved that way. Refinancing through Paycor saves us on that. However, there is a couple of things that we have to do. One, we have to have an ordinance, and Rob is going to read the ordinance. We have to have a first reading and a second ordinance. We want to get the first reading today, no matter what option you all take. And you all got some information. I tried to get that to you all last week. If you want to take action on that, if you want to, we can wait for the second reading if you're not sure which option is best. Again, we cut some of the costs. There is a prepayment penalty on this loan through Paycor, and it's a hefty prepayment penalty. It's over $290,000. We We have about 8 years left on 2 of these loans. We have 3 loans that are eligible. The third loan is the vehicle loan. But we have thrown that one out, mainly because one of the vehicles is, we're going to get reimbursed for that on insurance money, which will pay that down about half. So we're going to leave that one out. My feeling is that we probably have that loan paid off at the end of the year anyway. It was too small of an amount. So what we've done is we've tied in courthouse and the EMS building. Again, the judicial center is, we're basically landlords to that one. That's a pass-through. We can't renegotiate that one. The other is the detention center, and that is on bond. That was redone, I think, 2 years ago, maybe 3. But it is on bond. We can't touch that one as well. It wouldn't do us any good to invest in a bond. So what I've done is I've combined the 2 loans. The options that I gave you were 5 options. The first option is to do nothing. If we do nothing, we'll continue to pay interest on them every month, and we have basically a balloon payment every, then the principal payment at the end of every year. We're currently paying 4.25%. It's fixed. And the reason there's a prepayment penalty for PayPal is that anytime you fix a loan, they add that prepayment. So again, if we refinance this, they consider that a prepayment. That's what a prepayment penalty is. If we continue to just pay like we are, we're going to pay 4.25%, and our annual payment, principal, I'm paying interest monthly, and then principal in the year is $377,715.
That's a year.
That's the annual payment. What I did is I put these on the annual payment because the options in there. The other options that are combined them, and again, go to a 10-year note that adds 2 years to the note. However, that'll drop our rate down to 3.6%. Our annual payment will be $303. So that is an annual savings of $74,562. And that to me is the best option now. A couple of things. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is that stretches the loan out 2 years, which adds about $246,000 to the entirety of the loan. The good news is that after 6 years, the prepayment penalty will be off, so that if we want to, we can add payments, get out of it quicker, and kind of get rid of that. We won't pay the interest on that, if you see what I'm saying. As we continue now, the prepayment penalty we have now is not structured to have any end date. What we'll have here is at the end of 6 years, we'll be able to get out of the prepayment penalty. With this loan, the reason it is high is that I told them we did not want to pay the prepayment penalty up front, so they rolled that into the loan. That's typical of most mortgages and things like that.
So Keith, if we opt to refinance, we're paying a payoff penalty up front.
Right. Well, no. It is up front,
Okay.
but it's going to roll into the note.
So it's rolling into the note. So option 2, we're paying a pre-penalty anyway, right?
The prepayment penalty is coming into this.
Okay.
The reason, and again, the reason why you'll see at the end of it, the total indebtedness is more than what the total indebtedness if we go through 8 years. It's about $245,000 more. Again, less than the prepayment penalty, but it's still more indebtedness. Because what we're doing is we're rolling the prepayment penalty into the note. So instead of paying $2.7 million, we're going to pay $2.99 because we're rolling in the prepayment penalty. I don't think it's smart. If you all, again, my advice would be if we're going to refinance, we go ahead and roll it in. I don't think the county wants to come up with $291,000 to get out of the prepayment.
So what we're saying is what we're paying now is 2.5, and then the second option, we're going to drop down to 3.6.
We're paying 4.25 right now, we're dropping to 3.6. And the reason we have to have the first reading today of the ordinance is because the rates are starting to run up.
Oh, I agree, I totally agree, I'm just trying to figure out the price. So what you're saying is you don't need a motion on what option to pick, and you just need a motion on to go forward with the ordinance.
Right.
Well, you don't need that, you just need first reading.
Yes, we will do the first reading today, but again, my recommendation, again, that's just my me personally thinking about this, I think option 2 is the best. And I've also put in options where we can continue to pay the same way we are now, which is interest only monthly, and a balloon payment. That doesn't save us as much. We can also go to an 8th year, which would be about the same amount of time, but again, there's still going to be a difference because of that prepayment penalty. Basically, what we're doing is we're cutting down the prepayment penalty with every time we do this. If we go in the 8th year note, we're going to say we go from $11,000 to $13,000. If we go to a 10-year note, we're going to say between $73,000 and $75,000.
Do you have the ordinance to read?
Yes. I've got it.
Mr. Flair, do you want to go ahead and, y'all want to go ahead and read the first reading? Okay. Mr. Flair, will you go ahead and read the first reading for us?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Again, this, just so, as Keith talked about, so there's not a misunderstanding, this is a general obligation pledge through FACO, so this is not passing any new tax or imposing anything. What the general obligation pledge means is that the county is committing existing current tax revenues to help pay this debt. So when you hear those terms in the orders, don't even misunderstand that you guys are passing new tax money. That's not what you're doing. This is just saying the existing money we have, we're committing to make these payments. And I was able, just got this morning, that I was able to sit down real quick and prepare a summary, so that way I don't read the whole thing. So this will hopefully shorten this considerably. Commonwealth of Kentucky, Bullitt County, ordinance number 15-04, an ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease, and making certain designations regarding such lease. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of the County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. This is in summary. This ordinance sets forth general rules, regulations, and conditions for the issuance of a general obligation pledge by the County of Bullitt, Kentucky, the lessee, for the purpose of financing a project. Recitals and authorization are established for the approval of the lease agreement and all collateral documents. The lessee pledges the full general obligation for payment of the lease payments. The lessee shall establish a sinking fund for purposes of this obligation. The Kentucky Association of Counties Leasing Trust is established as the administrator for this lease. Provisions are included for severability, open meetings requirements, conflicts and effective date, being upon passage and publication. Reference is hereby made to the full text of the ordinance, a copy of which is on file at the office of the Bullitt County Clerk, 149 North Bond Street, Sherwood, Kentucky, 40165, for a complete statement of its provisions and terms. Given first reading in the regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 17th day of March 2015, begin a second reading, voted upon and passed at the regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of April 2015.
Thank you, Mr. Flair. No action has to be taken on the first reading. And
Any questions?
Thank you for doing all this. Won't be long.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffey. And we'll have our second reading on April the 7th. New business, item number 8. Action is requested on correspondence from Monica Meredith Robinson. And I'll let the magistrate, Mr. Rainier, you want to address that?
How you doing, Ms. Sharp?
Great, thank you.
You happy today?
Absolutely.
The question is Monica is suggesting that we didn't, as Bullitt County Fiscal Court, pay her total due of what she was elected at a certain salary.
Yes,
Was she paid? Do you know, let me ask you that, do you know if she was paid everything that was due to her?
yes, the county attorney's salary is, for the budgeted amount that fiscal court had passed. She did an open records request, and, her open records request, and I believe I CC'd
Yes, ma'am.
the entire court and the county attorney as well. Ms. Robinson was paid all 4 years, $44,138,000, except for the first year, and she was paid an additional $660.62. And that difference was in April of 2011. And fiscal court approved an increase as she requested, where the state had requested an increase on her salary.
Is that just for that 1 year?
Yes, that's the only year that she got in addition to her salary for fiscal court.
So in other words, the contract has been fulfilled, and everything, for all 4 years that she worked.
Yes. $44,138.
So basically, what she's asking for is she's saying that she has not been paid the full amount. And what we're saying is, what you're saying is the treasurer of Bullitt County, that she has.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion, if we could, to send Ms. Monica a letter showing her, and I think she's got the open reports, but just maybe send her another one just saying thank her for her service. But we, as the Bullitt County Court, believe that we've paid her total due by receipts.
I'll second that.
And my office is happy to write that letter, because that's okay with you all.
Absolutely.
On behalf of our fiscal court. Okay. All right. Let's let Ms. Williams take it up, because she can read the motion.
The motion is to send Ms. Roberts a letter stating the Bullitt County Fiscal Court believes she has been paid in full, for her 4 years, or paid in full for the receipts from the treasurer's office.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Ms. Williams, can you call the roll?
Mr. Ray?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Lassiter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Deputy Judge Paddock, you have any questions? Anything, ma'am? Okay, thank you. All right, number 9 on new business. Action is requested to advertise for bids for auditing firms.
Yeah, absolutely. As cool, I've talked to a couple of people, is we haven't had our auditing yet this year started. I don't think we haven't even had a date. Did we? Coming in Thursday. I would like to take bids to do our own auditing service out of an outside entity. The scope of the services that the state offers, I don't think is a true scope. I mean, I think it's just number changing. I would like to really know as a court, have a, I don't know, better word of it is fine-tooth comb audit to go through to see all what's going on. I looked at the audits and as public, you guys, they're public records, you can look at them. They're not a real good scope, I don't think. For me to be a magistrate, no one, as we really need to know the ins and outs. And again, I'm new, I'm trying to figure it out, so numbers and information, I truly, I think would be great. But to have an outside entity come in and really look at all our books and look at our county to see where we can be more efficient, to see where we can be more, better with the taxpayers' money and assets. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we take bids on auditing firms, accounting firms, or however, for fiscal court and everything.
We need a second. We have a motion and a second, and I'm going to have Ms. Williams read the motion.
The motion is to take bids from outside auditing / accounting firms to be presented to
Okay, and I believe that the judge has a question.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Randall, would you be the one to write the bid? Because in order to receive bids, and you're going to be willing to compare apples to apples, you're going to need to be a little specific in your bid. So would you write that and send it to me for information?
County attorney to help me to post this.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this motion?
Is this going to be a secondary audit in conjunction with what we receive from the state, or are you wanting this in replacement of?
Well, can they stop the state? No, I didn't think it could.
And the state does not cost anything.
Yes, they do.
How much?
Half of what it was cheaper.
We can't stop the state. Mr. Walters, we can't stop the state audit.
already sent an engagement letter and you're already that far along, you're probably not going to go stop for this year. In future years, you want to hire your own, you can potentially do that, but I mean, this year, you're probably looking at having 2 audits. And it may be different, again, it's a different scope, there could be some different areas to look at, but I don't think you're at the point where you're going to go to solid state. Potentially ask them, but you're probably pretty late in the game at this point this year.
Right, we're looking, I think we should look at the numbers and see if we, and see about it. Even if we don't do it this year, if we do it next year, right?
Right, at this point, you're soliciting this for it, to see what the cost would be, and then you all can make a decision that or not. Moving forward.
You know, I mean, it's something we don't have to accept, it's just like I said.
Any other questions concerning this motion? All right, Ms. Williams, you may call the roll.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Ricker?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Number 10, action requested to obtain bids for installation of insulation at the detention center.
Hi, Joe, Radio and I went to the detention center last week to get some information. We discovered what it is supposed to do. It just doesn't know. So what we're looking at is, it's bids, this at this building, and there's a tremendous amount of people who's going to do it. Just like we did with everything on. And we're going to be looking at, we'll be looking at all our other buildings and everything, to see if there's a building we can make it more energy efficient. Because we know there's a lot of
Yes. Yeah, it's just the, at the court, we're looking over the bills and the process and trying to figure out what we can save if you guys money. Well, this was one of them, our electric bill was $11,000. And it's kind of good like red flag up to me and Dennis and the rest of us, but me and Dennis was lucky enough to be able to take off one day and look at it. So what we did is we went over and crawled in the attic and everything. You can stand on the roof and it's 80 degrees. I mean, the heat goes straight up. There was never, not even a morsel of insulation in the building. So what we're doing is kind of like, and again, all the people are trying to work with all the county buildings, just trying to save us a little bit.
Okay, we have a motion, and let's have Ms. Williams read the motion.
The motion is to accept the bids for the educational centers, properly insulated and
Any other questions on that motion? Who made the first? Again, any other questions on this motion? And Ms. Williams, you may call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson? Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Ricker?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes, motion carries. I don't see any other items. I do want to say, let's keep in our prayers Martha Knox and her family. Her father passed away, I think it was, Sunday evening. Somewhere in there. He passed away Sunday. Let's keep Martha Knox, who is our jailer, in our prayers, her family and Martha. I want to acknowledge the following elected officials to be here with us today. Steve Miller, who is a representative for Congressman Greg Guthrie, is here with us today. Steve, want to say anything?
We're working.
Thank you all for working. I want to recognize Representative Linda Belcher, who was a representative for our county. Linda, would you like to say anything?
We're working too. Really hard, right?
I want to recognize Mayor Mayor Means of Gilview. Mayor, would you like to say anything? We're glad you're here, Mayor. We're glad you're here. Those folks who have signed up, we have Gary Ward. Come on up to our podium.
My question's been answered.
Okay. Mr. Joe Wells. Mr. Wells, welcome. And let me review with you. You'll have 3 minutes. Our timekeepers, the deputy judge. And then we will ask questions up here. No questions will be taken from the audience, but these folks up here will ask questions. Only the elected officials will, only the fiscal court members will not ask questions. And you will have a 1 minute rebuttal. So you may proceed.
Great, thank you very much. I'll be brief. Some say that no need, no difference, but anyhow, I'll be brief. I just wanted to take and come before the court and let you be aware that I had read through the #1 newspaper in Kentucky, and your news.
Check something out.
About the right to work that was brought up last court. And I just want to come in and say that I'm against the right to work. My reasons being, I think the county has the land and the developers who offer land to businesses that might want to come into Kentucky. And I feel that it should be left up to the businesses and the workers on whether to allow the right to come in and parking for the state. But that's just basically it. I just want to voice my opposition to the right to work. I do believe that, if this report gets involved with this issue, what's going to happen is if you vote right to work, then the company is going to go into this, but you're actually tying the hands of the people that's actually doing the work. So when they come in, so if you do this, you're basically helping business people, but you're not technically helping the working people because they have no option. The business says this is what we're going to do, and that's what's done. And if you've got a bargaining unit, you have employees, and the company calls them. So I would hate to see this court, as great as it is, to get involved in anything like that. I think we just need to just let it take its course. But it has no place in this county for that. I believe we're just out of hands of working people. Like I said, business is going to be okay with it, but you got the men and women that know that you guys in the office are technically the person. They're really going to make up what's going to make it. There's no option here. This person here worked there 10 years, and is a good employee, and this person here has worked here 2 months. If the higher ups decide to like this guy a little bit better, they can give him a raise and let this person go here. So I believe in due process, and thank you very much for hearing.
Any questions from the magistrates?
Thank you for speaking.
Mr. Wells, you want any more time? We got time out. 31 seconds.
Oh, got 31 seconds,
That's
yeah.
not counting the rebuttal. So you only have 90 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, no, let me close. Like I said, if you just let this thing go, I think it'll be all right for the taxpayers of the county. Give us a break. Give us a chance to bargain with the company. But if you do this, you're time bargaining. We have no say at all. So please, don't do that to the county. Don't do that to the people that voted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Mr. Higgins, Mike Higgins.
Yes, my original question has been addressed,
Oh, it
but
has?
something was come up during this meeting that I'd like to
All right,
address.
come on over. And Miss, you know.
Yes, I know the
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, thank you guys for listening. Mr. Phillips has done an excellent job as our director for many, many years.
Amen.
And he has a high turnover in the EMS division of our county government. And he always has to come and ask, and it always gets put off, and that costs the taxpayers overtime, because we have to have the ambulances and the dispatchers in place. And I'm asking you, why do you need to know the name of a potential employee? It just slows the situation down.
Well, Mike, you own a business?
No,
Have you worked for a business?
of course.
Well, in my thing is when I read my job qualification, if I had one, is that I'm responsible for everything in this county. Okay? Every dime, every nickel, every employee, every car, that's my responsibility. So I would think that the magistrates in the court should know every little thing. And that's why we're doing it. You know, what we want to know why. When we sit up here, you guys vote us in, okay? We sit up here and you want us to make decisions on stuff to better this county, for one. So when we try to make a decision on in a 5-minute situation, I don't think that's the betterment of the county. I think that we have every opportunity to look at every name, every invoice. If someone's asking for anything that the county is responsible for, I think that we should have more than adequate time to address that. And that's just me. I'm speaking for myself as a business owner. But that's the reason why that we need to know that. Okay.
Now we got to our figure. Okay, City Judge, how are we doing?
Did you want me to give him rebuttal time, or let him finish the rest of his?
Let's let him finish the rest of it, 3 minutes before.
Oh, no, I don't need the time or anything, I just want to respond to Mr. Radio, that, of course you're responsible for everything in the county, but it's impossible for you to take on that responsibility. So you delegate. And I think that if you were to delegate to Mr. Phillips, it would save him and you time. It would allow you time to look at other things, and it would allow Mr. Phillips to run his department more efficiently. So that's the point of view that I'm making. Because to try, every magistrate, to try to know every bill and every problem, well, that's unfair to you. No one would expect that of you or anyone. So I'm just suggesting, because this has been addressed in fiscal court before, and a couple of years ago. So you know, you hire good people, you hire Mr. Phillips, you hire Mr. Stylus, and others, you know, I can't go through them all, we don't have time. But then you trust their judgment. And then as you do your annual budgets, or your quarterly meetings, then you address them, you get situations straightened out. I just think it would be more efficient if you would allow your department heads to have more latitude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Higgins, you finished everything you want to finish?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
We
Thank
still
you.
have time.
Oh, no, that's okay. Thank you.
Can I have the rest of his time?
No.
It's a very important question about the dispatch.
Sandy, I would love to, but I tell you what, since we have this on the agenda that you need to sign up to speak before the meeting, just simply sign up at the next meeting. And I would suggest getting with the folks after this meeting too. But I know you have a question, but I think I best stick with what the agenda says, or it will open up a can of worms. All right. That's all, those who have signed up on the sign-in sheet, and I have no further comments or business.
I had one thing, Happy Cable back there, when Joe and I was over working on this installation and everything, we checked with Salt River. They do an energy evaluation, and Happy's gonna try to get with me to report and everything in regards to trying to find somebody that's under low gas and electric, because most of our buildings and everything is serviced by low gas and electric, so I'm happy to come up with some good names for everything. Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Just, guys, just wanted to let you know, this Saturday at Southeast Fire Department at 8 o'clock, the firefighters are going to offer a country breakfast for everybody in the county. And I'd love for everybody to show up, because to see all the unity that's coming together. I know you've seen the paper and have a little bit of a hiccup, but we're soon to be a great firehouse and, you know, something we're proud of. And they would love to serve you if you have any time Saturday morning. They just want me to let you guys know.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Just silence. Let's finish this motion. Any none, Ms. Williams, can you call the roll?
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Judge Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ms. Randall, who put Mr. Washington?